Are video games art? In 2026, I feel like this shouldn't be a discussion. Yet no matter how many Reddit forums, Steam community chat rooms or online articles I read about the topic, no one seems to be able to give a reasonable answer on whether or not games should be considered art. Even discussing it online didn't get me to a conclusion. But why is it so hard for games to be considered real art in a time where games have their own museums? Is it because the audience is a different one? Is it because the way we use games is different to how we use art? Because you can interact with games yet not with art? Or is it none of the above and something completely different? Maybe with this video I'll be able to find some answers. My name's Crazy-Dany and I'm on a quest to find out, are video games art? Our story begins in 1947. The earliest known console ever was called the Cathode Ray Tube Amusement Device. It was created by Thomas T. Goldsmith Jr. and Ethel Rayman, who I didn't find a picture of. Basically, it looked kinda like this. Not even scientists could figure out what the fuck it was doing. It's a simple screen with an artillery game in it. All it can do is this. Amazing. But back in 1947, this was a huge deal. Actually showing that off was incredible. It was never meant to be a video game console like we know them today, it was more of a technical showcase. And as you will see later, these will start to pop up everywhere. Games like Bertie the Brain and Nimrod made their appearances in the 1950s. Later on they were followed by Sandy Douglas's OXO, Christopher Stracy's Checkers and Stanley Gill's Sheep and Gates, all of them released in 1952. But it wouldn't take long for the first video game ever to be released that's simply for entertainment in 1958, Tennis for Two. Still, this was not a huge gaming success as we know it today, like it was released or something. No, this was still just in some kind of institute where people just goof around with it and figure things out. But it wouldn't take long, because in 1972 it happened. Ladies and gentlemen, Pong. It was created by Alan Alcorn, who used this as a training exercise. Later on, two guys, Kay Bushnell and Ted Debney, realized that there is some potential within this game. They formed the Atari Incorporation and released the game to the public, in the form of a classical arcade, coin-used game console. However, after the release of the first home video game console in 1972, the so-called Magnavox Odyssey, the Atari Incorporation quickly picked up on that and requested that they should make a home console themselves with basically a home version of Pong. They worked on it with a cost of about $50,000 US, now would be about 400,000 almost, and released the Atari Home Pong console in the year of 1974. Those two, as well as the Coleco Telstar series, which was released in 1976, those three are considered to be the ones who started the first video game generation. At this point you might be wondering, but Danny, why the fuck are you telling us all this? Well, I figured that maybe we need to get some basics done and knowledge to get everyone on the same level, because, well, have you ever wondered? Ah, finally! We're talking about the topic of the video. Yes, this is art. This is well, of course. Jesus Christ, yes. Oh my god, look at that. We will put it right on the fridge for everyone to see. Yes, all of this is considered art. I'm just wondering, who is deciding if it's art or not? Is there like a checklist that they have to go through once a new painting arrives? Like, oh yes, you go in that line. Art is apparently judged by your point of view. You might consider this art and not this. But by defining something as art, you must have already experienced what art is. What I mean by that is that art has been around even before you were there to put your mind to it and define it as art yourself. Therefore, someone else decided something to be art for you, which implies that everything that is considered art has already been decided by other people without asking you for your opinion, because your opinion is apparently worthless. Let's take a look at it in a different way. I'm gonna hand it over to a game called Portal 2.
There is a framed painting on the wall. Please go stand in front of it. This is art. You will hear a buzzer. When you hear the buzzer, stare at the art. You should now feel mentally reinvigorated.
Okay, what did we get from all this? First of all, we get introduced to art. Whether or not we think this is art or not doesn't matter because it's already framed as that. Meaning, we cannot change the fact that it's already considered art, but we sure as hell can be affected by it, as we've been told.
You should now feel mentally reinvigorated.
Therefore, even if we don't have an effect on art, it sure as hell has an effect on us. And since we are under the effect of art, we will now also translate that to future art and affect that. Meaning, we cannot affect past art, but we can affect future art. Or, in other words, with the power that previous art has given us, we are now able to shape our own opinion and decide for ourselves what should be art and what not. Now that we got some kind of basic understanding of what art and games are, let's try to draw some similarities between the two. Personally, I'd say both games and art are both created with a clear vision in mind, whether it was meant for entertainment or to inspire, and sometimes even both. Also, what's connecting the two is that they're both meant to be enjoyed by multiple people, trying to bring together people who are all interested in the same topic and sharing their personal experiences and thoughts. If we put it like that, games and art both accomplish the same goal, but each of them in their different way. A quote that I found online said, "Anything that provokes thought is art." To me, that's a completely reasonable and sensible answer to the whole topic, yet maybe a little too simple for me. But what if we take that statement and push it a little further? What I mean by that is, if we keep on simplifying art and games, what would we end up with? What would we get if we keep on reducing the game Pong down to its very core? Well, probably the same as with every video game. A huge, almost never-ending number, only made out of zeros and ones. Or in other words, a binary code. Can we do the same with art? For this exercise, we will use the cave painting as our test subject. Can we do the same thing here as we did with the video game Pong? Is there a way to reduce the cave painting to its basics or to its core? Well, like many cave paintings of that time, they only had one source of color, and that usually was brown or maybe almost blackish from mud or dirt. And I know later on they used coal or maybe even blood to draw things, but for this example we will just stick with something simple as wet dirt. You may be wondering why I'm so obsessed with simply just using one color. Well, if you only have one color, you can decide between two things, to put it on or off. And even if the cave painting looks different, it simply has one input, and that is color on. And if it doesn't have that, the color is off. So indirectly, we're looking at a binary code in the form of a cave painting. And what do we draw from all this? Well, games and paintings are in their very essence completely the same. And both of them started their own way of art. Or as someone somewhere maybe once said,
"This is the very beginning of something big. And it started this simple."
Who draws the crowd and plays so loud, baby? It's the guitar man. Who's gonna steal the show? You know, baby, it's the guitar man.
I still don't believe in it.
Often, neither do I.
You gave them the one thing that was stolen from them, a chance. A chance to learn, to find love,
Miles and miles a day
to live.
to find another place to play.
It would mean a lot to me.
Night after night, who treats you right, baby? It's the guitar man. Who's on the radio? You go listen to the guitar man.
I guess
Then he comes to town.
I'm afraid.
And then you see his face.
There is
And you
nothing
think
to be afraid of, Mr. Morgan. Take a gamble that love exists and do a loving act.
Keeps him drifting miles and miles away, searching for the songs to play.
Welcome home, John.
Then you listen to the music and you like to sing along. You want to get the meaning out of each and every song. Then you find yourself a message and some words to call your own and take them home.